The Hilltop Glove Podcast is sponsored by Mid Carolina Service Company.
Mid Carolina Service Company is the first name to search for your residential or commercial HVAC needs in Lexington and surrounding areas.
Just go holler at Jason and Clint. They'll hook you up on the air conditioners, on the restaurant equipment, refrigerators, refrigeration, ice machine repair. They've been doing this for years. I know them cats forever.
Family owned and operated since 2006, they pride themselves in their quality work and customer relationships. Call 803-356-4153 or visit midcarolinaserviceco.com for a no obligation quote for service today. This episode of Hilltop Glove Podcast is proudly sponsored by Your Dollar Store, located at 3017 Farrell Road in Columbia, South Carolina. Owned by Brian Thomas, Your Dollar Store has been serving the community since June 2021 with a mission to provide fresh produce and essential household items to neighborhoods in need, serving areas like Booker, Washington Heights, and other nearby locations affected by grocery store closures. Your Dollar Store is a convenient one-stop shop for those seeking healthier food options and affordable essentials. Support a local business that's dedicated to giving back. Your Dollar Store, where you can shop, chat, and leave with a smile.
The Hilltop Glove Podcast is sponsored by True Brilliance Entertainment.
True Brilliance is a production, promotions, and management company dedicated to connecting artists and producers across the Carolinas to music industry professionals.
Several of their clients have placements both domestic and internationally as a result of their services.
Are you an artist or producer looking to build meaningful relationships within the music industry? Then True Brilliance is for you. Check them out at paramilitary.com. That's spelled P-A-I-R-A military.com.
Welcome to the Hilltop Glove Podcast.
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 The Hilltop Glove Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Hilltop Glove Podcast. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Tayler Simon, a podcaster and the owner of Liberation is Lit. Tayler, known as the Radical Reader, founded Liberation is Lit not just to read books, but to create meaningful dialogue and foster a sense of community. She joined the Bookstagram community in search of fellow passionate readers and advocates for liberation. What she discovered was a divide between mainstream book enthusiasts who prefer to keep discussions apolitical and those with smaller platforms who viewed reading as a catalyst for political and social change. Reading has always been a significant part of Tayler's life. As a child, her mother would get her books on cassette tapes, which she would listen to while driving or cooking, fostering a deep love for stories. Even now, Tayler is known for her unsolicited book recommendations and her passionate discussions about the books she reads. In 2019, Tayler took a bold step and started a blog focusing on the books that she was reading. She wrote extensively about how various books influenced her perception of the world and how they could inspire movements towards liberation. Through this journey, she found a community of like-minded book lovers who view literature as a powerful tool for social change. Liberation is Lit is not just a bookseller. It's a liberation movement driven by the stories we read and the communities we build. Tayler is dedicated to equipping radical readers with the tools to become activists in their own right. Her podcast, Liberation is Lit, is available on Spotify, is a testament to the power of storytelling and its role in social change. On her podcast, Tayler discusses the profound impact of stories that amplify voices, challenging norms and fostering understanding. Whether you're an advocate for social justice or simply someone who believes in the transformative power of stories, Tayler's insights will surely ignite a fire within you. How are you doing today, Tayler?
Oh my gosh, I love that intro. Like, I feel cocky. I feel like I got a big head right now.
Go ahead, big head. Go ahead. You are arrived.
Yes.
We're going to thank Tamaya Allen for that. Tamaya is the best social media internet ninja that we know.
We call it producer. Yeah.
Producer. Yes,
Okay,
yes,
okay.
yes. She will find anything and everything about a person as much as we can before we speak with y'all, because that's what you're supposed to do, right? But it's also good for folks to hear the stuff that they do, because at our ages, I always like to tease, because we don't get to talk to a lot of folks who have lived life and have a lot of experience. You don't realize how much you've done.
Right.
It's good to hear it.
I always feel like for so long in my professional career, I've been like the youngest person in the room. And now that the people I serve are staying the same age and I'm getting older, I find myself
I like how
actually
she's staying the same age.
Yeah, I used to work with college students, and I was actually at USC's campus the other day, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like these students, they're 18, 19, 20 years
They
old.
babies.
And I used to work on college campuses from 24, and I'm just like, oh yeah, like I'm like one of you.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Now, like I said, they're staying the same age.
All of a sudden, they're like, no, you're not.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I feel you.
Oh wow,
It's happening.
Yeah, it's happening. It's part of it, but that's a good thing. That's a blessing. That means you have staying power. You're still there, moving along as new people are coming through. It's almost like Nick Saban. He just stayed, and everybody else went, and eventually he even realized, I gotta go now. It's time for me to move on. But we always like to ask people the simplest question just to start: how many siblings do you have, and where did you grow up?
So I have one younger sister. She keeps me young. She's an older Generation Z, but she kind of keeps me grounded in the, okay, like that's still cool. Okay, that's not cool anymore.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, she keeps me young. We're actually hanging out after this. We're super close, even though we're 6 years apart. And we both grew up here in Columbia. I grew up on the southeast side, so kind of commuting back and forth from Columbia to my grandparents' house in Hopkins. I spent a lot of time with my grandparents on my mother's side, and yeah, that's home, Hopkins and Columbia.
Hopkins in the house.
Yes.
I didn't realize how hopping Hopkins was.
Oh, yeah.
You get it? You get it? Oh, I was being corny. But yeah, I didn't know that there was that much going on in Hopkins, or that many people that I knew were in Hopkins. Even like well-known folks coming from Hopkins. It blew my mind that many people. I was like, so where have I been at this entire time? I've been stuck on the west side.
The other
of Columbia.
side. Yeah. That's what happened.
I don't go over there at all. I remember when we interviewed one of our guests, Mark. We went over there and it was just like, oh, so there's a whole world over here. There's a whole
other suburb of Columbia over here.
Yeah, all kinds of cool things going on. So it's always cool.
I don't know about cool things. That's why.
Why you saying?
I was like,
but all
the people make.
Yeah, I was about to say the people.
We'll say that.
The people that come out here are awesome. Y'all some awesome folks that come out of Hopkins. What or who influenced you growing up to lead to the career journey that you're in now?
Kind of like what you said in my intro, my mom instilled reading into me from a very young age, and the cassette tapes from the intro. I remember having my little Winnie the Pooh carrying case with all my cassettes and my books, and I would have my little headphones, and this was before iPads, so I was a book on cassette tape kind of kid.
Same.
And every time it would beep, it's time to turn the page. So, like,
yo, I forgot. They used to have the beat to teach you how to.
Yeah, so you could follow along and still see the pictures.
Y'all, we dating ourselves now. Yeah,
right.
Kids don't know what that
That's why when you
is.
said cassette tapes, I was like, oh,
let me tell you now. I don't know if you've been to the kids' library recently, but now they have a little like MP3 player. It's probably not even MP3. They have some kind of digital media player built into the cover, and so you open it up and you hit play, and iOS sits there and it does the same thing. Beep, turn the page. Beep.
Oh my gosh, how technology.
They have a whole section at the library.
My fault. You just blew my mind. I gotta go check that out.
It's audio book, but also with the tangible book. Yeah, it's great.
I might have to go read some more.
I want some adult ones.
Yeah.
True.
Right?
That's what we actually grew up. That's actually us.
Yeah.
That's for us.
Yeah.
I mean, people ask me all the time, how do you read like over 100 books a year? And I'm like, audiobooks.
Audiobooks.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just...
And I will give a tip. if you feel like audiobooks are not for you, like you get bored or sleepy, try speeding it up, because that's how
what my wife did.
Yeah.
Whoa, speed 'em up.
1.75 is my sweet spot.
So are they?
If you're I don't know, maybe a little bit if your attention's a little bit deficient, or you have some kind of neural divergent situation going on,
yes,
sometimes you will start thinking about other things instead of listening to your book. So speeding it up keeps you from wandering.
Because they're moving. It's like you listen to
Or doing
auctioneer.
another activity. I do it while I'm playing video games.
And then I can pay attention
If it's
to
something I don't need to listen to, boop, 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 shh.
getting it going.
Yeah.
And I gotta ask this because you're talking about your mother and her. What was your mother's profession like? Is there a reason why she was so into books?
I have no idea. She was just always an avid reader. We kind of diverged on the kinds of books we liked. She liked James Patterson, and I do not like.
Oh, girl, that's that saucy stuff right there. That's saucy.
But yeah, when I grew up, when I was really young, she had her own hair salon. So she did hair for a really long time. And then she started working for the Elections Commission. So that's also so she started working for the Elections Commission probably around a few years before Obama was running for president. And everything she taught me about the elections process, like I was registered to vote at 17.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
She made sure I was registered to vote.
Wait. At 17?
Yes, so you can register to vote at 17 as long as you're 18 by the next president.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you just can't vote.
Yeah, I'm about to say. Make sure.
They'll register.
Words matter.
It's like
right?
selective service. They'll register you before.
We'll register you at 13, sir. We'll wait until you're 18 to take you. Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So she really got me thinking politically active, and the importance of not just presidential elections, but I keep hitting the mic, but all elections. And she was over candidate filing, so she met a lot of the local candidates who were running for office.
Okay.
And so she kind of gave me the scoop of like who's running and like what their personality is like, what their platform is like, and it prompted me to kind of do my own research as well. So she really instilled that. And then my grandmother, she was disabled for I think all of my life, if not just most of it. She had back surgery and knee surgery, so she was on disability. She didn't work, so she took care of me and my sister and my cousin while our parents were working. And she would always drag us, don't let it be summertime, because she would always drag us to the community center in Hopkins and drag us to different people's house to give them food or like check on people, and taking us to church to do different like community oriented things.
Stuff, yeah.
So those two really kind of instilled the value of reading, being curious about the world, being civically engaged, and just at the end of the day, like caring about people and like all kinds of people. Mm-hmm. So those are the two women that I definitely most wanted to be like growing up.
Oh man, that's so dope. That's really good to hear, because I mean, you got to imagine, like in this day and age, you're looking at all these things that are coming in front of you. You can have influences from anywhere. Just to hear, it is good to hear that. Just the people that raised you and took care of you were also your influences and how they influenced you. I like the fact that you said that. The story of your grandmother taking you to like visit people and stuff like that. So Skip and I, we can relate
sense of
that.
community.
Yeah, that's a real sense of community. And like, was she heavily involved in church?
Yeah, she was actually an assistant pastor.
Oh,
at
wow.
A couple of different churches during my lifetime. So
Did you ever go to people's houses to pray with them?
Occasionally, we would go to, I don't know what it was called, and I don't think it's still there anymore, but she called it the old folks home. Mm-hmm. And we went to the retirement home, and we would just pray with people, give them donuts and stuff. And one of my great aunts was in a home as well because she was deaf, and we would go take her out to eat and take her to get to the store to get whatever she needed, and we would go and spend some time with the other people in the house she lived in too. So that sense of community, and she did it without starting her own nonprofit. She did it without
sanctions.
Yes, or being part of like having it be her career. She didn't get paid for it. She just did it out of the goodness of her heart.
That's what I just want you to say that, especially for the audience, because Skip and I, we used to do that. We used to be we used to be going from door to door, praying with people, getting ready.
Talking, I grew up Jehovah's Witness.
See, this is what I'm saying. Yeah. We was there.
Yeah.
We was there. So like, it's funny to hear people still say that because you're like, well, did that really happen? Yeah, that really happened. We used to do that.
We used to go around.
Yeah,
and used to be a thing. Check on the older folks in the neighborhood. Make sure everybody good.
So we don't do that anymore. It's something that's a law. It's almost like a lost thing that people do socially. So I just want you to say that because that was interesting.
We just got to do it.
Yeah. Yes. I think it's gonna be our generation that's gonna have to do it.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be our generation that's gonna have to do everything.
Yeah. Because the other ones, like, if I let Savannah do it, Savannah's gonna bring a tablet. And they're gonna show you that tablet and tell you to watch that Ghostbusters.
Right.
And I don't know if that's gonna work right now. It's not gonna work.
It's so we're gonna have a generational divide. We're gonna have to be the middle people.
Yeah. Because imagine Io. You have to teach Io how to do that.
Oh, he goes next door and does a garden with our older neighbor.
Does he go to garden?
He loves going over there and gardening with her. Yeah.
All right. See, he's getting taught already. See, because that's important. I think that's really big because when we're about to talk about what we're about to talk about, it's important to understand that communities are vital.
Right.
And communities are vital in what we do on our everyday. And they're very vital when it comes to political movements, strategies, and just what you're talking about, liberation.
Right.
Okay, so I thought that was very important. That's why I want you to talk about that.
Yes.
It's very important.
Tell me about Bookstagram.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm vaguely aware of this, but that is not my culture or community.
Yes.
So what's up?
So when I first started my blog on books back in 2019, I was like, okay, I got to promote it, I guess. I hate this, but there's this hashtag on Instagram called Bookstagram, and it's where all of the bookish people
bookish people.
Yeah. do like
the readers.
Yeah, they do fun little reels and videos about what they're reading.
So not just book reviews, but actual
but a lot of
social media
There's
content.
There's some beef on there right now about like, oh, Bookstagram's not book reviews don't get engagement anymore, so we're not doing that anymore. And it's like, no, I want to know what people think about books and have the discussion. I just don't want to always have like cutesy reels to trending audio.
Feeding the algorithm.
Yes.
It is. It is.
Everyone.
Like, okay, actually tell me what you're reading, though. Don't just show me like, oh, isn't this book pretty? Okay, but did you read it?
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. When it took the book, the reason for the book is being deflated by the video.
Yes.
That's interesting. So my fault. So Bookstagram, that's what it is. People go on there and they show off their
book
culture.
Yes, and there's a whole kind of offshoot of Book Talk, which is the equivalent on TikTok, and it's even more of that kind of popularized view. But what kind of struck me when I started is, one, all of the people with huge followings. We're not talking about any books written by Black people, about people who look different from them, about LGBTQ writers. It was all the same, like Colleen Hoover and Sally Rooney and all of those kind of authors and their stories. And it's just like, okay, where are the stories about people who look like me? Then I found hashtag Black Bookstagram, and I saw and all of the diversifier bookshelves and the own voices, and I'm like, okay, these are my people. These are the books that I want to talk about. And in that, I would see more people talking about the political side of publishing. Like, why aren't we talking about books written by people of color? Why aren't we talking about diverse books? Like, why do publishers continue to push and amplify the books that we already see everywhere instead of giving a chance to the authors who don't have that big a platform just because they're Black? And I will admit, my mom was also into kind of the urban fiction growing up.
Urban fiction.
And it's so funny how urban fiction now means in a city.
Yeah.
Instead of just like the Black.
The Black.
books.
Yeah, actually means
like
city.
Before,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But I remember like okay, she'd have to turn off the audiobook when certain parts came on.
Girl, I'm about to say,
Like,
which
about
books
the
was she
pastor,
reading?
like, with the whole congregation, but I'm in love with a drug dealer. And I was like, those, I thought, like, I'm not interested in those stories. Like, maybe I just don't like Black books.
Yeah.
And then later, when I found Toni Morrison and Alice Walker and Their Eyes Were Watching God, Zora Neale Hurston, I'm like, oh, okay, there's Black classics.
Yeah.
And then in my head for a while was, okay, we got the Black classics and we got the urban fiction that my mom liked.
Zane.
Right, yes. And
Lord.
when I found Black Bookstagram, I'm like, wow, there's a whole world of Black literary fiction that I didn't know existed.
Yeah.
And I just fell in love with it. And these are the stories talking about the issues that are affecting the community, not just people who aren't part of the community coming in and saying, oh, like, this is the solution to this problem. No, it's actual people with lived experiences telling their story.
Colonizing.
Yes.
Oh, what a novel idea.
Right.
Said no colonization today.
Yes.
You mean asking people what needs to happen and then helping do it? Oh.
Exactly. Not trying to be a savior.
Oh, gosh. Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
So, and those are where the conversations about, oh, can a white author tell a Black story? Because there was all this, like, drama about this white author who, she was writing a lot of nonfiction books about the Black experience. And we're like, how are you coming in and writing educational content about the Black experience? And would have, like, Black woman on the cover so people assumed.
Oh, they did the reverse
Yes.
of what they used to do back in the day with the album because it hide the Black
also,
artists.
if I don't, this might be, I don't know if the,
You're good.
You can talk.
You're good.
So speak freely. Speak freely.
I don't know if y'all had the Bluford High series books.
No.
Okay.
Put us on game.
Yeah, it came around probably like the early 2000s, but it was like this series of this high school, and they were all Black characters and Latino characters, and it was just like, wow, like stories that we could relate to, and I loved that series growing up. And then I found out as an adult they were all written by white authors.
Oh,
The drama.
but you enjoyed them.
I know, yes. So I'm over here asking questions and writing think pieces for blogs, like, can a white author tell my story? And then I enjoyed the Bluford High series, so I'm still trying to
See, you're trying to balance that. You're trying to balance.
Get some little money out there.
But
Yeah.
I will say it was about, like, somebody brought a gun to school and somebody's mom's on crack.
Oh,
It
I
was a
see.
lot of
So
those
some
It was sensationalized.
contrived
Yeah.
issues that were being
Yeah.
brought forward.
Yeah.
I get it. I've read I've read some interesting books. They were always like true stories written by white authors about Black situations or Black experiences. And they were always really interesting because some of the things that I would see in the books is they would be trying to figure out, why was that Black person thinking that way? That would be the question in the book. And then they would basically, the whole book is about getting to figuring out, why did this person have an experience that would make them do this action? That's what it would be about.
I'm not a writer, but I would just imagine if you were trying to do that, you would have to like really own the heck out of your own biases.
Say it.
Implicit or direct.
Otherwise.
And maybe do a tiny bit of research, just a little
Maybe
bit.
ask some friends.
Ask some friends.
So
Speak to the family members.
if you have any, ask some friends that are not the same complexion.
Yes.
That's the hard. That's what I thought was always weird. I was like, so it seems that they got this information from public files and court documents. Did they speak to any of the family members? And it wouldn't be anything about the family members. It'd basically be like reading a New York Times article that was 300 pages. That's what it felt like at the end of the day. So I always thought that was an interesting thing. And the fact that you said that about those other books and the people they're writing, but you enjoyed it, right? Because like just hearing, sometimes just seeing yourself being placed in public makes you feel better.
Right, because I was thinking, like, did I enjoy them because they were good, or did I enjoy them because I was starving for stories
There you go.
about people
There you go.
like me? Because growing up, I used to love a good story about a little white suburban girl.
Yeah,
Like,
read the
that
heck
was-
out of them.
That became my life. I was just like angsty, and it's just like, no, there's another layer to that. That's missing to the story, but it's fine. But like you were saying about the books, about the information coming from court documents and like archives and things like that. That's why I think it's so important to have stories and tell stories, because it humanizes experiences. It's not just reading this research paper or here are the statistics.
Yes.
Like I'm actually humanizing this experience and seeing the interconnectedness about, like Audre Lorde says, we don't live single issue lives, and nothing illustrates that more than a story. And it's like, yes, we're talking about something like immigration, but also let's talk about how that overlaps with disability. Let's talk about how that overlaps with being like a firstborn daughter. Like, let's talk about how all of these things come together.
It gives you a more enriched feeling. Like, it enriches the story itself, the information that's being given, and then allows people to experience a little bit, because that's one reason why I like to read, is to experience it, right? And I always like to tell folks, you learn different ways, and I always like to tease. You have people that are hard-headed; they learn from like firsthand knocking their head off, right? And you got some people, they can learn from watching others. I like to learn from watching others, so that's why I like books. So I could read a book and understand from the book what was going on, and say, you know what, I don't have to do that. Like, I don't want that experience. I can choose whether or not I want to go through something, or if I like what is occurring in the book and I want that to be a part of my life. But more specifically with what you do, and I think this is interesting because this is stuff I'm interested in too as well. And we'll get back to question 3, but I got to jump on this because we're here already. With Liberation is Lit, right? You're really hitting on political thoughts, concepts via the vehicle of a book, and it being digested through an author, and then discussion happening from that. Why is that so important to you, first of all? And when did you decide, okay, this is the way I'm going because it's going to serve me in some way, shape, or form? Because it's not popular.
Yes, no.
I'm about to say, ain't nobody don't like that, right?
It's not popular? People don't.
No.
People don't like to change the way they think about stuff.
No.
Oh,
No.
No, it's a very uncomfortable experience. But I think that's the beauty about books and reading. It's not, and that's why when people are like, oh, I'm not really into nonfiction, I'm like, there's other ways to learn outside of nonfiction. I'm a very big advocate for using fiction to learn about people's stories and experience. Like, I just read a book called The Lion Women of Tehran, and it was about these 2 women who grew up in Iran and how they were working from a very young age they were shaped by the climate to want to fight for women's rights in Iran, and even coming to the U.S., like, I learned all about everything when people were like peace in the Middle East, that time period, from that book. And it's a fiction novel, and you can learn a lot by just experiencing things, history that happened through the eyes of characters. And there's so much to learn about yourself and others. Somebody told me this quote, and she couldn't tell me who the quote was from, but I quote it all the time now. Books are like mirrors and windows. Books should be a place where you can see yourself, but also be able to see into the lives of people who are different than you. And in that turn, learning more about yourself. And so that's why I think books and storytelling is so important. And the way publishing is set up now is we don't get a lot of stories from really good people, because these big publishing companies are like, that's not marketable, that's not relatable, that's not universal. And just because I'm Black, my story isn't relatable or universal. Like, who are you to tell me that?
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of studies out there about just how white publishing is, straight publishing is, how there's not a lot of representation with people with disabilities, and that is controlling what kinds of stories we're seeing on a big time level.
Yeah, and that's the publishing companies. politics. I don't think it started publishing companies.
It's one of the oldest monies out there.
It is.
You gotta think about that. This is old money.
Johann
this is older than
Gutenberg,
cotton money.
old money, yeah.
And they
printing
control
presses.
knowledge and culture in this country, and people don't think about it like
No,
that.
until they're getting ready to destroy or rid us of certain books, whether it be a textbook. This was crazy. Rid you of textbooks, or if they want to rid you of certain books that they feel may attack a specific political ideology.
And they're
or
not book
feeling.
burning. They're just
They're
ceasing to
say it.
print more.
Ceasing. Yeah, you can go get them.
Yeah, we decided we're done with this one.
Ceasing.
And the thing is, with book censorship now, is a lot of these books are being challenged by parents who don't even have kids in the public school system.
Yes.
They have not read the book.
Nope. They never. Matter of fact, they never read the book.
Right, exactly.
Let's just get that right.
Let me
They
tell you
never-
an extreme example. So, Beloved by Toni Morrison is a book that is, it's kind of have magical realism elements about spirits and things like that, but it's essentially about this woman who escaped from slavery with her children. And it's based on a real story of an enslaved woman who actually killed her children rather than have them all go back into slavery.
Yep.
And that book is banned from schools for bestiality.
Oh yeah.
Because there is one sentence in one chapter about some enslaved men taking comfort among the goats.
Yeah, this is what it says. It don't describe.
No.
Doesn't say anything.
Y'all
about-
remember reading Chaucer and
Oh my Lord! You're right.
Y'all remember
You're
the
right.
sailor that had
You're right.
syphilis in
Yes.
his knee, and the
Yes.
wife of Bath, who was the prostitute that banged everybody in the
Yep.
city, right?
And they tell you
That's-
about it.
Yeah.
Oh, but great. Peak
Great.
literature.
Peak literature.
Yes.
No, literature.
Yes.
No, and that's what kills me. That we have, and I don't want to be mean, but I got to be a little mean with this. We have the illiterate, the deaf, dumb, blind, and mute telling us that we cannot read.
From a soundbite.
Yep. From a soundbite. That you should not read something.
Right.
And I would be, as I said, I don't know nothing about Bookstagram.
Yeah.
But I would assume, just from what I know about the industry, that some of these people in Bookstagram that are more influencer than book reader are getting paid by these publishing companies to do these.
Very little, but yes.
Well,
Oh, I like that you said that. I'm happy
Compared
you
to
said
other
that.
industries. And
Yeah.
that kind of leads me into the industries around bookstores in general. Book selling is not very profitable at all.
We were talking about that earlier.
It is not. So I did not start a bookstore to become rich by any means. And it's a conversation on Bookstagram about how these influencers can get paid thousands of dollars to push these cheap products, but your payment for Bookstagram is you got the book, maybe a PR box.
really?
You got if you get lucky.
Wow. Wow.
Unless it's like an ongoing campaign, it's like the book is your payment.
Wow.
Well, thanks.
That makes sense, though.
Well, I mean,
how
that's
they-
what they've been doing to every, journalism paper. I guess they're just taking, the newspaper model and moving it that way.
pushing it.
We'll send you a
It's
book.
supposed to be
Yeah, makes
integrity
sense.
because, if we're paying you to review this book, then you're going to review it favorably. But
That's how you know it's old money is because they give you integrity in exchange for cash.
For cash. Yeah, integrity, cash. Hey, we're going to do this way, cash.
Right.
But that makes sense because I think people should hear that because it makes it sound real because in the sense of it's not something that you should be chasing for fame or wealth. It's a actual passion that you have. And I know it's a passion you have because we went on your site and I looked at the prices of them books. And I was like, ain't no way she's making millions of dollars off these books. And Mike was telling me, yeah, because we were breaking it down, looking at the thing. And I was like, so how does this work? So it says they got Shopify hooked up to the site too. So if they buy with $50 of books, do they pay her all at once? How does this stuff work? How does this business operate around her and her book selling, right? And I figured she can't be making millions of dollars. You can't be making millions of dollars. And I guess it's a very... systems type question to ask, but how is it that you receive your product to sell? It's a question just for the audience. I know they're going to ask this.
community.
Really?
What?
Yes. Yeah, I
Is
get
there-
a ton of donations.
The Hillary
Gently
Clinton
used
book?
books?
Yes.
Was a donation?
Yes. So I also have an amazing partnership. I'm going to shout out my friend Marla Taviano.
Go ahead, shout out.
She has the Instagram page, Bookstagram page, White Girl Learning.
Hey.
And she's local. We connect. I followed her when she was still living in Cambodia, and then she's like, I'm moving to Colombia. And I was like, whoa, no way, I live here. I've been following you for a while. Let's link up. And what she'll do is she loves going to thrift stores and like different places to get used books. And she'll buy the books for me. She'll put out a micro reparations opportunity for her followers to sponsor a box, and then she'll just give me the books for free.
That's awesome.
So
Wow.
she's like responsible for most of the books I have,
Yeah.
but yeah, I get a ton of donations from the community, and I'm
So how do they
happy to
know?
see
How
them.
do they know to find you to donate books?
I have not been good about putting a call for donations because Marla keeps me stocked.
Keeps you stocked, yeah.
But usually, like if I'm out selling books, people are like, "Oh, do you take books?" And I'm like, "Absolutely."
Bring them.
Yes,
Bring me your books.
Yes. So that's how I'm able to make some profit. But as far as selling new books, so if you notice in the back of books, the price is printed on them. So if any other product, it has like suggested retail price, but people can buy or
Right.
sell for whatever they want. Booksellers can't sell new books for whatever they want. They have to sell it for the price that's listed on the back.
Wait. What?
Yeah.
You can't just put a sticker over it? They won't let you do that?
You have to sell it for the price.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
No, because it's
And
printed.
we-
on
Well,
it.
you think about it, that's what they do with cars.
Yeah, that's true.
And we only get around 40 to 50% discount from publishers.
Really?
Oh, wow. So if the book is $22, you'll get the book at what?
Maybe
Maybe
10.
10? And then you still have to ship the book,
Which is-
stock the book, sell the book. Because we had a brick and mortar book distribute on our podcast last week, and that was one of the things we asked is like cost of books. And like one thing that she told us I thought was really interesting is that there's some books that they got in there just because she knows people are gonna come by them. James Patterson. Shout out James Patterson. Look, that ain't teased him earlier. But James
I
Patterson
don't sell
sells.
James Patterson. I'm sorry.
It's
I
all good.
can't.
It's all good. It's
But
all
because I noticed, like, when I was, like, actually, like, going to thrift stores and stuff and buying, and I would see all the James Patterson, I'm like, people don't want to buy, like,
Well, you're not
number
competing
13.
with them.
True.
Yeah.
You've got people
Yeah.
are following you and saying, I want to read what she's telling me.
Right.
Yes,
And
which is
by the way,
different.
here it is.
Yep.
Right. And
Yep.
that's why you should support local bookstores because
Yeah.
over Amazon because
Yes.
we're not just selling books, we're providing community programs, support, personalized recommendations. Like Amazon's working on an algorithm and they can sell books cheap because that's a profit loss for them. They're making millions of dollars off of other products. So
What do we know about the algorithm?
Yes.
Yeah.
Algorithm is biased.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yup.
And I'm
Yup.
also a self-published author. So
Go
yeah.
ahead.
That wasn't in the bio.
Go ahead. Shout it out.
My books
Shout
are
it
my
out.
life. And I sell my books on Amazon only because they have such a chokehold on the market.
Yeah.
But I much prefer you buy my
Direct.
books from the store or from bookshop.org, which I have a relationship with. They support local bookstores by giving commission.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Now I'm gonna ask you a really simple question that I know you'll be able to answer. Of course, we live in a ever-growing, completely digitally controlled society now. I am a Googleite, right? So with that being said, can you explain the importance of reading and selecting books that inspire you to become more than just a digital media consumer?
I think because of technology, we rely on it to just passively give us things instead of actively and critically thinking about what we're consuming. So instead of
That
reading
tracks.
the newspaper, we're watching people, which is great for journalists who don't have that platform and they have that free access to amplify stories that we don't hear from traditional media, but we're listening to people who don't have credentials, don't have training or the critical skills of their own,
Yeah.
spout their opinion, and we take it as news. So as a part of Liberation is Lit too, I really want to teach people how to critically read again and critically engage with content. Because if we're just so used to passively receiving information all the time, they can tell us whatever they want, and we're not there to question or imagine new things.
Yeah.
So I made a very controversial post about wanting to vote for Kamala Harris out of fear, and not really because I know what her platform is, like fear of the alternative.
Yeah.
And and I said, like, at the end of the day, I don't believe politicians are the answer to our liberation community is. And people were just
Girl,
like,
you better stop talking that craziness.
I know.
You better stop it.
Yes. Nowhere did I say I'm not voting for Kamala Harris.
Nope.
Nowhere am I telling people not to vote for
Nope.
Kamala Harris. But
don't act out of fear.
I'm just saying, when was the last time that we had primaries for both parties in the majority of states?
A long time.
Because we're just getting candidates that are picked from back room.
Yep.
And I don't like that.
Me neither.
We actually do have primaries, but nobody knows when they are, how to vote in them.
Well, and this year, everybody got bullied out of all of them.
Yeah, we got
Both parties bullied out all candidates out of the primaries.
Yes.
Which is criminal to me. At no point did people pick. But anyway, I don't want to be political. I'm done with it. Man, it's the WWE to me right now.
No,
And
you're
that's
right.
why I
believe
say
it. I believe it.
Community is the answer. And when we have that critical thinking skills, then we can think about what we want to create instead. And a lot of people call me brave or whatever for starting Liberation is Lit. But what I've learned to embrace is not to want to create something new. Because if the system is set up to never benefit us in the first place, like I'm in the business of teaching people how to start new things to help their community.
I'm about to say, man, you really do sound like you a liberation theology, like black liberation theology over here. This is the stuff I was reading growing. This is why I'm like, you talking, I'm like, yup, You serious about this?
And with that movement, we had the independent publishers.
Oh, we did.
We had the bookstores.
You had to have independent publishers.
Yes.
Had to have news.
Yes,
Newspapers.
independent news. And what I like that you said, and this is what I want people to get to understand this part when it comes to black liberation theology. People scared of it. Oh, black liberation theology. It's actually about learning how to critically think. My uncles, my father, them growing up, one of the things they always told us is, they used to always tease, and that blew my mind. I don't know, why are they saying this to me? They said, boy, stop thinking no. I said, what? How am I supposed to know without thinking? And I'd be so confused, right?
Good luck with that one.
Yeah, but then I understood. Yeah, good luck, right? I understood what they meant. Like later down the road, I said, oh, I get what they mean. Like if I do my thinking beforehand and I'm critically analyzing things, then I'm going to know.
Sure.
Meaning, now when I'm moving off of knowing and not trying to do I really know it? I'm thinking about it. I'm gonna know, and it's very important to be able to do that. So. One thing I do want you to do before, as we get ready to wrap up, is just to explain to folks why it is so important for us, especially leading up to an election, because that's where we're going, to be a critical thinker and actually know what it is that you are seeing and hearing and dealing with.
Yes, because like as you were talking, I kept thinking it's not about being able to parrot off what somebody else is saying on YouTube or this one book that one type of person lifts up as authority. It's about being able to take in information from different sources, being able to, sort out what's good information, what's not good information, but also take from the good information the pieces that, okay, this aligns with my values, this aligns with my values, this is what's going to help other people, this is what's going to help my community. That's what critical thinking is all about. It's about synthesizing all different types
that
of
word,
information,
yes.
but also
Yes.
separating the bad from the good.
There you go. You can't throw out the baby with the bathwater. You got to know. You got to pick and choose and make sure you get that stuff together. So as we wrap up, I do want you to go ahead, give yourself a shameless plug. Tell everybody where they can find you, how to get in contact with you, and if you have anything upcoming to let the audience know.
Yeah, so you can find all my work with my bookstore at Liberation is Lit. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and liberationislit.com is my website. And if you want to look at my author things, because I write my own
Yay.
books, I have 2 poetry books, one called Phases and one called Love and Other Forms of Heartbreak. Those are wherever you buy your books, but you should get them from liberationislit.com. And you can follow my author stuff at Tayler_made_books. And
What
I'm
you
on
wearing?
Instagram and TikTok. Oh,
What you wearing?
so I got this shirt that says unapologetically black and bookish too. And that is also on my Liberation is Lit website. And I got some stickers and tote bags and all the fun merch too if you're trying to get back into reading, or if you're like me and listen to audiobooks. Libro.fm is where you can get audiobook memberships. It's the same amount as Audible, but way better.
What?
And better for the community. And you can support Liberation is Lit through
Oh,
Yes.
okay. I'm gonna give up mine. I'm gonna flip over my Look, you're gonna pull me away from Google.
Yeah.
Google Amazon. I'm about to get pulled away from one thing, but it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. We're gonna wrap up here for the Hilltop Globe podcast. I'm DJ and what?
This is Mike.
Background we got
Skip.
and hey, and our esteemed guest. Say your name. There you go. Go ahead. Shout yourself out. Well, it's been a pleasure. I just want to make sure you tell somebody that next to you that you love them. Tell folks around that you care about them. And until the next episode of the Hilltop Globe podcast, peace.
Peace, peace.